I can see you.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from India, South India.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for
So,
thank you for contacting me.
thank you for coming. So, I thought to introduce you to my audience and I thought to tell about your books and about your work to my audience, to my YouTube and to my Instagram and to my Facebook audience who follows me.
Okay, that's great.
So, can you please introduce yourself to the world?
Yes. My name is Tanya Ross, and I am actually a retired teacher. I taught in the classroom for over 30 years. And once I retired, I decided that I wanted to write. Well, I've always wanted to write, but I finally was able to spare the time that it takes to do a good job as a writer. So I began writing books targeting kids from about age 12 through 18. It's the young adult, section basically of literature. So they're books that they will enjoy, but also older people also like them. There are a lot of people that just read young adult literature. So yeah, so my book is something that a lot of people would like. Um, the book that I have out right now is this one. It's called Rising Up, and it is the first in a series. So I have been working really, really hard on the second book, and that one will be released very soon, probably late April or early May is what I'm looking for that one to come out. So yeah, so I'm really excited about the book, and I'm really excited about the series because I think it's not only a fun read, but there are a lot of themes in it that are very important for people to be thinking about.
You're from?
I am from San Diego, California, in the United States.
What is Tranquility Series?
Are you talking about what exactly?
I saw your profile and it showed author of Tranquility Series.
Yes. Okay. So the Tranquility Series, that's what I call these books that are going to be in this series, and the city is called Tranquility, where these stories take place, and the story is about a young girl. Her name is Ember, and the city in which she lives is the only city that they know of around, and they have to in order to live there, they have to wear something kind of like a smartwatch, and the smartwatch actually monitors their emotions all the time. Like it does what all smartwatches do. It gives them information. You can make phone calls through it and all of that, but it also monitors their emotions. And in this city, they have to be happy and they have to be positive. And so the whole idea behind the city is so that nobody will ever go to war again, which is what destroyed the world around them in the first place. So they don't want to have any crime or any bullying or any negative, horrible things happen to them or the people. So everyone signs a contract that says that they are willing to work really hard all the time at being happy and positive, giving of themselves. And so that works great for most people. They rise up in their society based on the points that they get from their what I call the alt, which is the thing they wear on their wrist. So all of their food and their standard of living depends on their happiness score, and what they're able to earn as far as happiness points every day. So you can imagine, though, that that is fraught with some issues. There's no sickness or anything in this city, which is wonderful, because it's 100 years in the future. They've eliminated all sicknesses and disease. And if anybody does have anything wrong with them, they're expected to be able to use their positive thinking to pull themselves out of that disease or that discomfort that they're feeling. So when the main character's mother gets sick and then she dies well before her time, this makes the main character wonder what is happening. And she asks questions, but no one will answer her questions as to why her mother died. So she's, first of all, she's grieving terribly, and this is putting her life in kind of a tailspin because people there are not allowed to feel that way. They are not allowed to be sad or unhappy or feel, any of these negative feelings like anger or frustration. So she's trying very hard to maintain that, and maintain her training in those areas. But she's just so distraught because she's all alone. She has no dad either. So that's where the story takes off, is her trying to figure out what is actually happening in this perfect city in which she lives. And she uncovers a lot of things that, would scare anyone about the place in which they live. So that's basically the plot line and the premise of the novel. So it's a fun read. It's a really fun read.
So what message you are sending to the world through your book?
The message is technology can be very much open, and we have to be very careful, especially when the government starts using it to control where we are and what we're doing and what we're thinking. And heaven forbid they would at some point be trying to control how we're feeling, which is, I think, something that's on the horizon already. So that's the message, to be very, very careful about the lengths that technology can invade your privacy as a human being, and how much we're already a slave to it, and how easy it is to manipulate people with that technology.
As a person who did a master's in software engineering, and I feel this is very new. The smartwatch is reading the emotions of the person who is wearing it.
You believe that already?
I never heard that emotions reading smartwatch.
Well, I guess, to a degree, if the smartwatch is picking up your breathing and your pulse and all of those things that are physical, manifestations, those are all manifestations of emotion anyway. So, it's not too far off the, scope of reality that smartwatches of the future would certainly be able to do that. I recently saw an advertisement for a product, a real product. It was something you wear on your wrist, and it does measure your emotions. And this was being advertised as something to help people manage their emotions, but also suggested that companies have their employees wear it so that they can better understand what makes their employees happy. And I was just like, I was so blown away when I saw it, because it's so close to what this mechanism is that these people wear in my novel. It was very frightening to me.
Where this thought came from?
Where did the thought come from? My
Yeah,
idea?
yeah.
I had probably about maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, a marketing company reached out to us, to our family, on the phone, and they said, hey, we're a ratings company, so we want to see what people are listening to and watching on television. And of course, this is long before, cell phones and all of that were so sophisticated. But they said, we'll send your family these devices. They were about, I don't know, 2, 3 inches square. And they said, if you wear these devices and carry them around with you all day long, we can pick up all the radio waves of everything that you are listening to. And we'll pay you if you agree to wear these devices for X amount of time. Okay, I forget how long they had asked us originally. And I said, well, yeah, if you're going to pay me to carry the thing around, I don't have any problem with that. And it wasn't a lot of money. It was like maybe, I don't know, 40, $50 a month. But all I had to do was carry the thing around. And so it made me think about how weird it would be if carrying around this device could measure other things other than the radio waves. And that's where I first came up with this idea that what if they could measure my emotions and how I'm feeling as I'm going about my day, and how I'm feeling as I'm listening to this radio station or watching this TV program. And so that's where the idea was actually born. Um, Came from this really pretty much now old-fashioned device that nobody would even use anymore.
Okay, so this thought was before 15 years.
Yeah, it was about that long ago. And so I know they don't have it anymore. The company was called Arbitron, and they were very well known as a ratings company. So you used to be able to wonder, like they'd wonder how many people are actually watching this TV show. Should they renew it? Do they have a fan base? Do they have an audience? And so they use things like that to determine whether or not that show was going to continue. And of course, now they have other much more sophisticated devices to determine those things. But back then, it was all they had. So I was really happy. Not only was it kind of a unique experience because I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. Like they said, if people ask you what this device is that you're wearing on your belt, you're not allowed to tell them.
Okay.
So, so, people would ask me, what's that thing? What's that thing you're wearing? And I go, well, I can't tell you. And they go, really? Why? Well, because it's a secret. I cannot tell you. So I kind of had some fun with it, especially since I was teaching, middle school kids at that time. And they were so intrigued by what this thing was that had to remain a mystery. So it was fun.
So 30 years you worked as a teacher. So what is your experience?
Well, I loved teaching. I found it to be something so entertaining and interesting. All kids are so different in the way that they approach life and the way they learn. And I found their energy very appealing, and they were funny. There wasn't a day ever that was the same as the previous day because you never knew what they were going to do or say. And I kind of had a special talent with them, a very special rapport. I enjoyed being able to have conversations with them and to be able to help them learn things that they had never thought about before, especially in terms of books and things like that they would be reading, stories that we could talk about, and what they meant and how they could apply them to their lives.
So I'm sure in this 30 years you might have seen thousands of kids.
Yes, thousands and thousands of kids. Yes. Yes, and it's fun because now with the technology that we have, with all of the social media platforms and all that, I've been able to reconnect with a lot of my students from way back when I first started teaching, years ago. And it's fun to see what those kids, are doing and what they remember from being in your classroom. And they're no longer students, of course, but they become friends over the years, and and just neat people to know.
Do you have any favorite student?
Oh, I have lots of favorite students. Yeah, there's always at least a couple that really stand out to me. They're usually the quirky ones, the ones that are not necessarily the perfect students at all. They're the ones that are either funny, or maybe they're the class clown, or they just connect with you in that some sort of an odd way. But yeah, I have had many favorite kids over the years, and it's you have to keep that from being noticeable. You can't show favoritism to kids, but you do fall in love with some of them, and those are the ones that I really do try and keep in touch with afterward.
By seeing the number and by seeing the experience of yours, can I call you as a children's psychologist?
I would say no, but I certainly know a lot about kids and how they think and what they're going to do in certain situations. Which is why it was a natural thing for me to write books for them, because I do know what they like and I do know how they think, and my characters are teenagers, so I'm pretty familiar with what goes through their minds and how they're going to act, some of the stupid things that they might say, what they consider important when they're making choices and decisions. So that all comes into my writing. That all spills over into my writing, and it was, to me, it's kind of like being with kids again.
So, what they said about your this smartwatch book?
What about my smartwatch? What?
What did they said your students said about your the book in which you have explained about the watch and which understands the emotions of the human being?
Um, Kids that read my book absolutely love it. They are not necessarily super concerned about technology, though, which kind of bothers me a little bit. But they do love the story. They're absolutely sucked in. A lot of them understand, how addicting it is to, because they've always got their phones, always have their phones. And so by the people in this city in Tranquility always having to check their wrist device, they're responsible for that and monitoring it. They can really relate to that whole experience, that they would want to be checking it all the time. So I don't have to go too far in the book to convince them that this would be a normal everyday occurrence for people in this city. They're very comfortable with that idea of being in touch with our technology constantly. So yeah, but they love the book. They're super excited about the second book to come out. I just had 10 kids. I think they're 13, that read the first draft of my next book to come out. They're called beta readers because they get to sample it first and give me feedback. And they're just so excited about it. Cannot wait until it comes out. And I promised them a free copy if they agree to read the first draft. So they can't wait to get their hands on it. It's exciting because the second book is twice as long as the first book and has so much more depth to it. So that's another reason why they cannot wait to get a hold of it.
Okay, the second book is out or is on
The
the way?
second book is, yeah, it's not out yet. Actually, the editor is working on it right now. So as soon as I get the editing done, then it'll be ready to format and go. I already have my book cover up for that book on my website, so people can see it. It's not up for pre-order yet, but it will be probably within the next month for pre-order, so that people can, maybe get started or thinking about it ahead of time. So yeah.
You're sending message to the government or the students who are the young adults who are going to read the book. Because you're talking about the technology. You're telling the students that you are under control. The watch is controlling you, and or you are telling that government you are controlling. You're the controlling system, and you're controlling us.
Yes, that's true. Um, the first book deals a lot with the technology of that kind of control and how the government is using people's happiness to control them, which is just like so bizarre, but so true even in our society today. I mean, it happens all the time. Book two gets away a little bit from the technology and gets into the reasons behind the government leaders. I don't want to say obsession, but why the government leader is so worried about the people learning things that are going on in the city. So by the second book, the teenage heroes are running away from the magistrate who is the government leader of the city, because they've discovered all kinds of things and he is out to get them. So the second book is a lot of chase and, arrest and torture, and some of the darker themes are coming out in the second book, that these poor characters have to endure because they were brave enough to speak out against what was going on in their city.
What subject you taught as a teacher?
I taught mainly language arts or English, and then I also taught history as well. So yeah, so my first love is really literature and being able to read stories, and it's really fun to be able to sit and talk with kids about what's going on in a story. One of the favorite books that I enjoyed teaching is another book about a suppressive society. It's called The Giver, and that really inspired me a lot. It was the first so-called dystopian novel that I ever read, and it was just so much fun for me to teach. That's another reason why I decided I wanted to write that genre, when I finally sat down to be a writer.
Okay, so I'll put your book links and your website in the description of this video. People who finds our video on YouTube or anywhere on the social media will find your links and will go through your books.
Great. Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about it, and it was really fun to chat with you today. Um, so thank you again for having me. It was a great surprise.
So thank you for giving me opportunity to talk with you. I don't even have your experience age. I'm just 20. I will become 29 next month. So I don't even have experience. My age is not even your experience, but still you accepted to talk with me and to be on my show and to tell about your books and about your work. You
Well,
accepted it immediately.
I love the fact that you are young and you are already going for it. That is super great, and it's I think you guys are the future of the world. So I'm very happy that you're able to do this, and thank you again for inviting me.
So at last, have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
I have not, but I will now pursue them. I definitely will. Thank you.
As a literature subject teaching person, your comments or your words about my work is very valuable for me.
I understand. I get it because reviews are important. They're important to me as well. So I will definitely check out your videos and I will give you some comments and feedback. And you probably have a subscribe, right? Okay. I'll hit that button as well.
Yeah, and I have seen your profile. It's very neat. It shows, when I saw it, definitely I thought that I'm going to talk with the person who is very experienced and uh, whose books are going to be very interesting.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, and can I put this video on my YouTube channel, on my social media, on internet, on my podcast, this audio and video clip everywhere on the internet with your permission?
Yes, you do have my permission. That's fine.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving me your time again.
All right. Thank you. And you have a great day and have great success, okay?
You too. I want your second book to reach all over the world.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.